live. What's going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for tuning in at this time. Everybody that's here, greatly appreciate it. Anybody watching this on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Look, same story, same script every single time. The movie never changes, right? I mean, it's the definition of insanity at this point. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Look, like, just can't beat Denver. I mean, it's what it is. They just can't beat Denver. This is 13 out of 14 times. We were up 6 at halftime and got beat by 30. We were down by 30. Like, that's just, again, that's inexcusable. You know, it's just, they just have our number. Guys don't show up. Guys can't play. We're running the same 3-man scheme every time. Right? Like, no one else is getting involved. It's Austin Reeves, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis running 3-man action over and 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 over. Right? Like, the offense is predictable, and then when Anthony Davis just doesn't show up, right? Like, LeBron can't take care of the basketball, turn the ball over. Reeves started hot, and then that just went down the drain. You know, it's just like, I mean, what do you say at this point? What do you do at this point? You know, the reality is the reality. You know, Lakers just aren't good enough. This is why I've said, you know, people keep telling me, you know, oh, we don't need a trade. I even made the video, you know, about people talking about how, oh, we need to stand pat. You know, don't fix what ain't broke. Right? Like, Jared Vanderbilt and Christian Wood aren't fixing this. We're not a championship contender. We're not. We're not. We're just not. We're not good enough. Austin Reeves is your third guy. You're not good enough. Anthony Davis, LeBron James are great, but, you know, Anthony Davis is a no-show against this team, right? LeBron James can't take care of the basketball, right? Like, you start stacking this stuff up, all of a sudden you look up, and it's a disaster. Disaster. I mean, it's just, again, what do you do at this point? Lakers got to get a trade done. Got to get a trade done. We went from being undefeated at home to losing 2 straight. And we keep losing to teams that are on back-to-backs. We've played 3 games with a team as we're the second team off of a back-to-back, and we've lost all 3 times. It's wild. This is why that Magic game is so important. Right? People kept saying it's only 1 game. Right? Well, if you won the Orlando game, you've won 7 out of your last 8 rather than 6 out of your last 8. Right? And now we have like 6 games that we got to play on the road against tough teams. Right? Like, I mean, again, it's not just 1 game. These are the kind of things that continue to stack up. And it's just, again, the Lakers they're just not good enough. They're not a real contender. They can't beat Denver, right? Like, Denver's, missing Aaron Gordon. They keep losing guys in the offseason, and they keep owning the Lakers. Michael Porter Jr. plays like he's, prime Steph Curry. Jamal Murray plays like he's Michael Jordan. Jokic just absolutely dominates us. It's the same script every time. Every time we're up at the half. Like, the next game, I hope we're down like 15 at the half. So that way, at least it's a different script and maybe we'll win, right? Like, it's just like, at this point, what do you do? What do you do at this point? It's the same thing. It's the same script. I also want to say, look, D'Angelo Russell has been awful, right? D'Lo's he's unplayable at this point. However, D'Lo's the only guy that actively tries to get Dalton Connect the basketball. Austin Reeves doesn't try to connect the basketball. LeBron doesn't try to connect the basketball. AD doesn't try to connect the basketball. Literally, the only person on this team that tries to get Dalton Connect the basketball is D'Angelo Russell. Again, D'Lo's been awful, right? But at least he's one of the few people that, like, actually tries to connect the basketball. Look, Rui didn't have a bad game. Like, Rui was good this game. Dalton Connect needs to start. He does. He gets in better rhythm. He's just better at the natural 3 spot. than Rui. And I just think Rui coming off the bench get the same production, right? It's really about the minutes and production that he gets. Right? It's just, again, this team needs trades. And until we actually pull off trades, we're not a real contender. So many people, why do you always talk about trades? Why you trade this, trade that, trade this, trade that? You just saw why. Right? Like, people keep asking, why? The team's fine. The team is not fine. You just saw why. Right? Like, again, we need trades. We need to round up this roster. This roster is not good enough. This team isn't good enough. Austin Reeves is your third player. Not good enough. Anthony Davis doesn't show up. It's just LeBron can't take care of the basketball. Dude, the guy's turning the ball over every other possession. Right? It's just we don't have any consistency. And then it's the same three-man action over and over and over again. Right? Look, I love JJ. I'm a big JJ guy. But can we stop running the same it's predictable. And it wasn't working. Right? I'm a big believer. If something's working, keep going. Right? I'm a big believer. If you're cooking, if you run 5 straight pick and roll actions and in 5 straight possessions you score on that pick and roll, why would you stop doing it? Keep going until they figure it out, right? But that wasn't the case. That's not the case. Literally, we're running the same 3-man action between Austin Reeves, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, and nothing's doing. You're not doing anything. You're just clunking shots, turning the ball over. It becomes incredibly predictable. They're reading it. So LeBron's turning the ball over. Dalton Connect's just standing there in the corner the whole time, right? Rui Hachimura's just standing in the corner the whole time. Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, whoever else is on the court, you're completely phasing guys out. Right? Again, it's what are we doing here? It's incredibly frustrating. It really is. Look, you got to keep Dalton Connect in the starting lineup. All right? He's a rhythm guy. You got to get him the basketball. Let him get into a rhythm, get into a flow. Right? Look, Dalton Connect isn't saving this team, but I do think he can make an impact. We've seen him do it. Right? You got to get off of the 3-man actions. Like I said, literally, the only player that actively tries to get Dalton Connect the basketball is D'Angelo Russell. D'Lo has been awful. If the Lakers trade D'Lo, Dalton Connect might never get another shot unless it's just the ball taps out to him at this point. Literally. Dalton Connect, if D'Lo doesn't give him the basketball, that guy doesn't touch the basketball. It is crazy. He is your best shooter, your best chance at just going off. And look, I'm not saying you have to run your entire offense through him, but can we run some actions to get him open, get him some looks, do something? And nothing. It's crazy. D'Lo's the only guy. Again, trade D'Lo. He's been terrible, but at least he tries to get the rookie the ball. Austin Reeves, I know that they're BFFs and were BFFs even when Connect was in college, but he sure doesn't seem like he wants to get him the ball ever. Right? LeBron does it for LeBron historically making shooters look great. Doesn't really seem to try to get him the basketball. It's crazy. But anyway, let's get into the chat. Let's get into all the super chats, all the regular chat, all that stuff. Again, it's just, what do you say at this point? It's the same result over and over and over again. It's the reality. But anyway, real quick, let's get into the chat. But hit that like button for me, please. Take a quick second, hit that like button, and then hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And let's get into it. Starting us off with super chat, Damian, coming in hot with $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Seriously, I really do appreciate that. Like I said before, this team's priority needs to be defense and a big, not another 20 to 30 point scoring guard. Also, how about AR tonight? But again, having a consistent go-to scorer would be great, right? Having a guy that could come in, and Anthony Davis is struggling and having his issues, and you're not talking about just another 20 to 30 points. So you're talking about a guy who is above average defensively, talking about a guy that helps with rebounding, gives you athleticism. Lakers need athleticism out on the perimeter. I know you're referring to Zach LaVine because I keep talking about Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine shapes up a lot. And it's not about just Zach LaVine, right? Like you can get Zach LaVine and get other players. I've talked about it. You can get Zach LaVine and still get Dorian Finney-Smith and like a Day'Ron Sharpe, and you could technically get Dennis Schroeder if you want to. Like you could get all four. It's just, what are the Lakers willing to give up, right? But like, again, like I'm all for, like, I made a video earlier today. Even if you don't do the Zach LaVine route, right? Like the Nets solve everything. You could literally get Dennis Schroeder, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Day'Ron Sharpe. You could literally get all four of those guys and do like I think it's like a 4-for-4 swap, or maybe a 5-for-4 swap. Give up whatever you need. At that point, you fix all your holes, fix up all your issues. Like I've said, my favorite trade is probably the Nets trade on like a package level. But when I talk about Zach LaVine, I talk about singular. Like what singular move raises the ceiling? Zach LaVine solves a lot for this team. A lot for this team. Right? Now, is Zach LaVine by himself make us the best team in the NBA? No. But I think he raises the ceiling a lot. Right? I think he gives us a better chance. Right? Games like this where Austin Reeves does have a good game, because he did have a good game. He cooled off in this. He started off hot, cooled off in the second half. But overall, he had a solid game. And when he has these kind of solid games, you're probably winning all these games. You're probably winning, or maybe not against Denver, because Denver just blows us out. Zach LaVine's not changing this game. But most nights, you need that consistent score. But look, Lakers need a lot. They need another big. They need defense. They need perimeter support. They need perimeter help. They need a lot of things. They really do. But time will tell. But again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for Super Chat. Hopefully we get a trade done relatively soon, sooner rather than later. But all right, getting into the regular chat. I hate us getting owned by the pathetic Nuggets. Yeah, it's same script, same story every time, same game every time. Yeah, as stands, I hate to say it, but Nuggets are like Eddie. Nightmare continues. Stop in sight. Yep, it's just. I mean, look, they've owned us. I mean, the truth is the truth, right? The reality is the reality. The reality is. We just can't beat Denver. We can't beat Denver. Denver's just better than us. Doesn't matter what. Michael Porter Jr. plays like he's Steph Curry. Jamal Murray plays like he's Michael Jordan. Jokic is absolutely dominant. But it's crazy. It's crazy. Yep, same old Lakers. Let's see. Seemed like always going well till the third. Like always, pass turnovers can't make shots, can't defend. Yep, it's the same script, same story every time. Let's see. Sorry, trying to find some me. He does. He absolutely does. Yep, Lakers. It's absolutely terrible. Terrible. Honestly, glad that we lost so we can get a trade soon. What do you think? Time frame for a trade soon? Probably not. I wouldn't expect one until closer to the trade deadline. Now, Jonas Valanciunas is available for trade, and I do think center-wise he's probably the most likely. But he's not officially available till December 15th. I think that they just made him available now just so they can start the negotiations, try to get it done. So literally the day that he's available. Chances are we're probably not getting a trade till January I wouldn't be shocked if it's not till the trade deadline. So we'll see. But I count coming out $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I miss Lonnie Walker, but we signed Gabe instead. Look, I like Lonnie Walker as a scorer, but the guy is incredibly limited. I like Lonnie. Like Lonnie is definitely a fan favorite, but he's terrible defensively. He's a vacuum scorer, which is fine. I mean, there's a reason he's out of the league, right? And Gabe Vincent at the time was coming off of being the third best player on a finals team, right? Like, and was great. And originally it was supposed to be Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown was going to sign with the Lakers for the mid-level exception. And then the Indiana Pacers said, we'll double that. And that's why he went to Indiana. right? Because he's getting $22 million. We were never going to sign Gabe Vincent originally. We were going to sign Bruce Brown. And then, lo and behold, Pacers come in and go, hey, here you go. Right? So, yeah. But look, I like Lonnie Walker, but, I mean, he's not changing things, right? And, like, who is he playing over at this point, right? Like, you have a guy in Dalton Connect that could just light it up like Lonnie can. Problem is, he just never gets the basketball. Right? Even if Lonnie does play, he's probably never getting the basketball. He's probably not touching the basketball. So that's the problem too. But now look, I don't blame the Lakers for signing Gabe Vincent. Right? Obviously, in hindsight, you could be like, oh, Lakers are stupid for doing that. But at the time, it was a huge signing. Right? Like at the time, it made a ton of sense. Right? The guy who's a starting point guard on a finals team and was their third best player on most nights, now is coming off the bench for the Lakers. Like, that's huge, right? Even if he wasn't able to replicate what he did with Miami that season, even if he was half of that, the fact that he's coming off the bench was huge. And then he gets hurt, and now he comes back, and he just has been awful. So it's rough. It's rough. But I appreciate it. Thanks so much for Super Chat. Honestly, I'm done watching the Lakers. I get it, but I'm never gonna not watch the Lakers. But I get the frustration. Rui sucks so bad. I don't think Rui sucked. I mean, he was fine. Like, especially first game back. Right? Like, he's not a star, right? He's not a superstar. He took 7 shots? Again, it was all 3. It was all LeBron, AD, and Austin Reeves. Like, it was just nonstop 3-man action. Right? And Rui was 4-7, 2 of 4. He had 2 rebounds, but he had like 5 tap outs. Right? Like, I didn't think he was like great. Like, I didn't think Rui was like, oh my gosh, right? Like, but I thought he was good. Like, he was fine. Up 10 and down 20 real quick. I mean, we almost lost. We were down by 29 at one point. Reality check. We're not good enough. We're not a championship contender. It's what I've talked about it all off season, all regular season, right? Like, even when we went on this 6-game winning streak, I've maintained you need trades. Lakers aren't good enough. It sucks, but that's the reality. Go get Levine tonight. Would he be able to play Tuesday? I mean, technically, yeah. Have you hurried up and got him in? Yeah, I mean, technically, I mean, guys have been traded like in the morning and have played literally that night. Dalton should have started. I agree. Has nothing to do with Denver and everything to do with team morale. I mean, I wouldn't say it has nothing to do with Denver. Denver's just better. But a lot of it is just the Lakers, like the mental toughness. They're not – they just are a different team when they play Denver, right? You can't say it has nothing to do with Denver because Denver balls out every time they play us, right? Every time we play Denver, they smack us. But, no, it's just to say it has nothing to do with Denver, I don't believe that. But it does have a lot to do with just the Lakers, right? Just their mental collapses, the way that they just, fail to show up against this team. This team sucks. Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't think they're like trash, but look, I still think they're a playoff team. I just don't think they're a contender. Rob, do me a favor and trade for Dante and Dorian Finney-Smith. I would be all for that. I don't believe Dante is realistic, if I'm being honest, just because there's so many hurdles. I would love Dante, and if you could get him, perfect. But one, when Minnesota even trade him to us, and at what cost, right? 2, they are a second apron team. So it has to bare minimum be a 3-team trade. And it's just, there's a lot of hurdles. And you got to keep in mind the Lakers are a first apron team. So neither team can take on salary. Neither team, like the Lakers can't aggregate guys because Minnesota can't take on guys. Now you could to a third team, but Minnesota can't aggregate guys, right? Like it's such a hurdle to go over for a guy he's good, but he's not great, right? Like he's not like, if it was, if you had to do this for like Giannis, then yeah, right? Like you do that. But for a guy like in Dante, like you're better off just go get Dennis Schroeder the way he's playing, and you don't even have to worry about it. And he's probably cheaper, right? Like It's kind of my thought. Like, I mean, if I'm Rob, I'm on the phone constantly with the Nets. Like, what will it take to get Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dennis Schroeder, and Day'Ron Sharpe? What can we do to get those four guys? You know, Lakers are trash. Same last year, same result. Is this fixable? Kind of done with LeBron and AD era. Seeing this, is it fixable? Of course, right? Like nothing's unfixable. I mean, as the Lakers are currently constructed, is it fixable? No, right? Currently constructed, no. All right, like the Lakers just don't have the pieces to match up against a team like Denver. But you get a proper trade, right, or two. Like you get the right pieces, then yes, it's very fixable, right? And if you get a bunch of guys that haven't been a part of this, because you got to keep in mind, this team has been the team that's been a part of this the entire time. You go like, let's say you trade like for the Nets trade, right? Just argument's sake, right? Let's say you get Dennis Schroeder, who, yeah, he's been a part of it, but Cam Johnson wasn't, right? Dorian Finney-Smith wasn't, right? Day'Ron Sharpe wasn't. You get those guys, all of a sudden you look up, then like they're not caught up into the narrative. They're not having the mental collapses. They're not having this because we weren't on the we weren't going to, we didn't lose to Denver 13 out of 14 times. Like it changes the narrative. I mean, is it fixable? Yes, of course, but not currently constructed. I just don't see the team currently built beating Denver. Could they beat them on a random night? Sure, of course. You get hot or whatever. But like, if we play them in a playoff series again, that's it. We're going home. It's the reality. Let's see. This is BS. I feel it. Lakers staying in the top 5 was a childish dream. I mean, I still think the Lakers will probably finish in the top 5 range, but we'll see. We'll see. Reeves. Come on. Why isn't that popping up? What the heck? Hang on a second. Why isn't that working? Why did this just like freeze? Sorry. And it refreshed. Give me a second. I don't know why this thing just like froze. Shoot. Where was I? Shoot. I have no idea where I was at. I was just going to answer a question and this thing refreshed. I'm just going to pick up here. Trade the whole team. Look, I've said nobody is untouchable on this roster. Dalton Connect, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis are the only 3 that I think you can't go over. Dalton needs more touches, man. I agree. D'Angelo Russell, again, D'Lo has been awful. He's the only one that actively tries to connect the basketball. He's literally the only one that tries to connect the basketball. Nobody else regularly tries to get him the basketball, and it's crazy. We're losing at least 5 in a row and probably a ton more. I don't think we'll win again in 2024. I hope that's not the case. I think that we'll win a couple of these games, but it's tough. It's definitely tough. Connect can't save us. Yeah, by himself. Absolutely not. He can't. Let's see. I'm trying to find something. I mean, Rui's just not a good defender for 1, and 2. He's slotted out of position. It's the reality. He's slotted out of position. And as long as that's why I've said to trade, you got to trade Rui. I like Rui. I don't want to see Rui go, but as long as LeBron's on this team, he's always going to be slotted out of position. And therefore, he's never going to be able to fit in where you need him to fit. And he's not gonna magically become a great defensive player, right? Like, he is a 4 who is masquerading around as a 3. And to his credit, he's done a good job, at least on the offensive side of things, of kind of adapting to being a 3. But he's not a 3. He's a 4, right? Like, it's not a coincidence that every time LeBron misses a game and Rui slots in at the 4, he has his best games. Literally, he had a career night last season in one of the games, right? Because like he's better rebounding, he's better defensively. He's that's his spot. But you got to turn him into a real legit 3. A Cam Johnson, something like that. Austin literally gives us 30 points per game on defense. I need someone to check his getting scored on percentage. Defensively, yeah, he's been rough, but he had a good game this game. 80 seems legit. Sees Jokic and legit gets terrified. I mean, Anthony Davis played in the playoffs. To be fair, Anthony Davis was awful this game. Don't get me wrong. This isn't a defense for this game. But in the playoffs, Anthony Davis outplayed Jokic, right? Like, he was very good in that matchup, right? It was just everyone else. I'm assuming Rui should not have started. Make him earn it back. Not given after he's back from injury. I mean, I don't think Rui should have started either, but, I mean, he has earned it over the last year and a half, right? It's not like he was trash before and then came back, right? Like, no, it's not like, he earned it through his last, essential year of playing time. But I still think Connect should have started. I do. I think he should have started Connect. Let's see. Definitely need to make a trade this evening. I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Sometimes JJ doesn't use it. Yeah, I mean, look, you got to keep in mind, he is a first-year coach, so he's going to have his hiccups. He's going to have his hurdles. But also, I mean, again, and I defended Darvin Ham in this matter, right? It's on tape. I defended Darvin Ham. The players still have to show up. Every time the Lakers play Denver, the players just don't show up, right? Like, it doesn't matter who the coach is. If the players don't show up, they don't show up. I mean, I was very defensive of Darvin Ham last year in that regard, because there was a lot of times last year where the players just didn't show up, and everyone was like, oh, Darvin Ham, it's trash. And it's like, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, Darvin Ham is not a great coach, but the players aren't helping, right? Like, you can only micromanage so much. You can only coach so much. At some point, the players have to step up and play a role. And the Lakers just don't step up when they play Denver. Whenever they play Denver, they just collapse every time. It's literally the same story every time. So based on all of the stats, you're wrong. The second best duo in the NBA right now, behind Jokic and Jamal Murray, is D'Angelo Russell and Dalton Connect. Literally, Dalton Connect and D'Angelo Russell are the second best duo in the NBA, right? Like, literally, because D'Angelo Russell's the only one that does it. He has more assists to connect and more passes to connect than anyone else on this roster. And again, if you don't believe me, look it up. Or here, actually, I think I have the stat on my phone. Hang on, give me a second. I might be able to actually pull it up. Let me see if I still have it. I know I made a video about it, so that's why I think I have the image here. Like, literally, D'Angelo Russell is the only one that actively tries to get him the basketball. Like, it's not my opinion. It's literally a fact. Do I not have that? Darn it, I might have gotten rid of it. Yeah, I think I got rid of it. Darn it. But anyway, yeah, I encourage you, look it up. if you don't believe me and you don't want to take my word for it, go ahead and look it up. Yeah, I don't seem to have it anymore. Still connect with the defensive rating. Man, I don't know why I would have deleted it. I thought I would have had that. Oh, hang on, let me check here, because I actually do think it's a good stat to pull up if I can. Oh, here it is. Yes. All right, here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna bring this up here. Let me do this because again, I think this is a good stat to demonstrate. And sorry, I have it on my phone, so I gotta send it to my drive, and then I'll pull it up here on this. Okay, perfect. Here we go. And then let me come over here real quick and add it here. Come on, there you go. All right, so here you have it. All right, for those that don't believe me. So best offensive rating amongst duos this season, 100 minutes minimum is the criteria. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray are first with a 135.2. Dalton Knecht and D'Angelo Russell are second. Second in the NBA. Because D'Angelo Russell is the only one that actively tries to get Knecht the basketball. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. D'Angelo Russell has been dog water this season. He has. He has not been good by any stretch of the imagination. But he is the only one that actively tries to get Dalton Knecht the basketball. If we trade D'Angelo Russell, Dalton Knecht might never touch the basketball. Right? Again, this isn't my opinion. This is a literal fact. Not my opinion. Right? So where you said it's not D'Lo, it's Knecht. Hate to break, or it's not D'Lo, it's LeBron. I don't know why I said Knecht. Yeah, that's just, it's not the case. Literally, it's, again, as I just showed. Yeah, so that is the answer to your question. There you go. So let's see. He constantly leaves his, I don't know why he constantly leaves his feet, like regularly. And I don't know why. This is just another game 3 in the 2024 playoffs, close halftime, but third quarter, second up. Yeah, I mean, it's same story over and over and over again. I've never seen AD settle for as many jump shots as he does Jokic. Man, it's terrible. He just can't move Jokic the way he can with other guys. He can just body other guys and move other guys out of the way. He can't do it. Let's see. I knew from the get-go starting Rui over Knecht was a huge red flag. As Gabe Vincent scored any points this season, he has, but not a lot. He has not been great. He is statistically the worst player in basketball. He's just defensive rating per like minutes, of course. Like you could find somebody that has played three minutes and has been worse, but per minutes, like that have registered at least 100 minutes, he's literally the worst. I am a big Levine guy. I hope Rob is having a really hard time sleeping. I hope he's having a hard time sleeping too, and it's because he's on the phones. I hope he's working out deals. Let's see. It definitely is not the same offense from last season. Like there's actually ball movement. They're running actual sets and actions. It is like not even close. It's in another stratosphere, right? Like you could pick any random game from the Darvin Ham era, and this offense looks much better. It's just when they're only running like this game, they just ran 3-man action over and over and over and over and over and over again, and basically phased everyone else up. I agree they should have started DK. I think Dalton Knecht needs to start. And honestly, I think the 6-game winning streak was great. We beat the Pelicans without TJ Jazz by 6. Look, I said the same thing, right? Like, I'm happy we won 6 straight. I mean, we haven't won 6 straight in like years, right? But like I said in a video, I've said it on live streams, right? Like we have to put things in perspective. We beat a bunch of bad teams, and we beat a bunch of teams that were missing their stars. I mean, even Orlando was missing like 3 of their starters, right? And so like it's just, again, like that's the reality. They are just too timid. Lee, everyone's so scared. There's no emergency and no alarm. Missing bunnies and free throws. They make more turnovers than threes. What a mess. Why did I waste my precious time? I feel it. I feel it. Trade Reeves, Vanderbilt, and D'Lo for Zach LaVine. First round pick, and Jalen Shafino for Kessler. Look, I am not against getting LaVine and Kessler by any stretch. Whatever you got to do. My only hope now is Dalton. I didn't understand why they take Connect out of the starting five, just because it's Rui Hachimura and he's making $17 million and was good before injury. But I just think that Dalton Connect is just better for what we need and a better natural three. We need an actual contender, and AR is just a good role player. We need good guards. Yeah. Yes, Nuggets absolutely own us. Let's see. Trade role players, none of it matters. If your best players is scared deep down. Like I said, Anthony Davis was excellent in the playoffs last season. It's just, I mean, it wasn't great this game by any stretch, but I am with you. Sorry, trying to find something to me. Why are they treated DK4 like this? He should be featured with LeBron and AD. Look, I'm right there with him. I am right there with him. Facts saying this, Denver owns the Lakers. Yes, 100%. Season is far from over. Let's not overreact to the game. But let's see. And after being 10-4, we are now 10-6, looking to be playing once more. I hope that's not the case. I hope the Lakers right the ship here a little bit. Let's see. They be in the comments. You make trade videos every day. Now you wonder why. Yeah, is that my point exactly? Like people are always like, why do you make trades all the time? Well, you just saw why. Why am I so adamant about the Lakers making a trade? Well, you just saw why. Tired of Reeves, overrated. Please trade AR ASAP. He's a bum, too inconsistent. Can't guard a statue. Look, I'm not against trading AR at all. Like, I don't think he should be untouchable. I mean, I don't want to just trade him just to trade him. He's a good player. He's just a role player. He's not a third. Like, he's not your third best player. He's just not consistent enough on a nightly basis. He had a good game this game, but he can't defend, right? Like, if he's, your fourth player, or if you have the right pieces around, it can make sense. But, like, look, I don't think Austin Reeves should be off the table. If the right trade is there, you get it done. I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Yeah, stay away from PG-13. His left knee is shot. He's had 2 left knee injuries in the last little month. I'm with you, Coswin. I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Good to see you, by the way. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Great to see you too. Great to see you too. Let's see. Dude, Connect is being face guarded. He cannot shut his defender. He's Kyle Korver, need multiple screens ran for him. I mean, he's definitely not Kyle Korver. And 2, I mean, teams are active in that. Take guys completely out of plays, right? But that's why you run actions. I mean, Steph Curry, comes off of multiple screens. Klay Thompson came off of multiple screens. It's usually how you get your shooters open, right? Like, it's usually how it works. Right? Like you want to get your shooters in the best position possible. There's nothing wrong with coming off of screens, right? Like, have you not watched the Warriors the last 15 years? Right? Like, that's literally their entire offense, setting multiple screens and bend downs and guys just coming off of them, right? And all your shooters coming off of them. That's usually how it works. Relax, Tyler. The turnover once the Lakers lose, apparently. Up next this week, OKC and Phoenix. Yeah, the schedule does not get easier by any stretch. I mean, I've talked about trades pretty much all season. It hasn't just been because they lost. Let's see. I mean, Denver as a whole just has the Lakers number. Funny how everyone gets healthy when the Lakers play. Oh, of course, every single time. Always. I mean, you can. That's like the one thing you can count. At least Jokic came back last night, right? Because usually they don't come back until the Laker game. So at least you could say like, what's he solving for the Bulls? I'm assuming you're talking about Zach LaVine. Basically everything. Like the guy is doing all he can. I mean, the guy dropped what 29 on like 12 attempts tonight. Like, yeah, the guy's doing a lot. But Chicago's just a bad team. Basketball is a team sport, right? It takes more than just one guy to win games. Why do we blame for this game tonight? What y'all think? Or who do we blame for this game tonight? I mean, just the Lakers team as a whole. I don't think this is on an individual person. I mean, you could blame Anthony Davis because he's the superstar and was bad. And I definitely think he deserves a ton of criticism, especially coming off of choke job in the Orlando game. Which, again, this is why that Orlando game was so important. Because now you're 6 out of your last 8 instead of 7 out of your last 8. Right? It's just so. I mean, if you're going to blame anybody, it's definitely Anthony Davis. But I just think that it's just a team issue. This is just a real team issue. JJ is definitely not a fraud. JJ is a legit coach in this league, but the team's just not good. I mean, like again, they're not good enough. They can't beat Denver. I don't care who. Name me a coach that's changing this. Name me a coach that Anthony Davis is showing up for against Denver. That LeBron James isn't going to commit, 6, what do you have, 6 turnovers? He had like as many turnovers as he had assists, didn't he? He had 7 assists and 6 turnovers. Right? Again, production-wise, you only have, I don't care how good the coach is. I don't care who the coach is. I'll be honest, this game really showed how bad the Lakers need both a 3 and D and a physical defensive big. I am right there with you. AR-15 is good. He's been carrying the Lakers low-key. I mean, he was good this game, but I don't know if you've watched the last 5 games. He's definitely not been carrying the Lakers the last few games. He has been like unplayably bad in the last few games. But he did have a very good game this game. The way Dennis Schroeder's playing this season, I would do. Let's see. Sorry, trying to find something. My boy Russ played well, but this was sad to watch. The Lakers have to be better. Yeah, Russell Westbrook, he took this game personal. You got to credit Russ. Look, I'll always have a soft spot for Russ. I know he didn't work out with the Lakers, and I know Laker fans as a whole aren't very fond of Russ, but I've always really had a fondness for Russ too. I'm right there with you. Unacceptable. I mean, you were here, Sammy, when I was like religiously defending Russell Westbrook. Let's see. Did I miss the Tyler rant? No, there was no rant. It was just defeat, just total defeat. Why is Gabe so bad? Was he this bad in Miami? No, he was not this bad in Miami. I mean, he's never been great, right? He had that one playoff run, but he's never been great. He's a career like 33% 3-point shooter, but he's never been this bad. Embarrassing, man. I'm right there with you. Right there with you. this loss makes the whole season feel like a waste of. I mean, I don't know about that, but it definitely hurts. Definitely hurts, without a doubt. David, coming out to final super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I blame the front office. Don't have real starters. AR, RHR second unit at the most. Rui Hachimura, D'Lo, CRGV won't find teams. They are not serious about winning. So look, yes, I understand. I understand the blame for the front office, right? Because it's like we need to get trades done, we need to get moves done, and all that stuff. But I also don't want to trade just to get a trade, right? Like as frustrating as it is, and as bad as we need a trade, David, and I'm right there with you. We have to be patient, right? Because right now everyone's asking prices are insane. The Lakers tax is a real thing, and teams want to fleece the Lakers. No team wants to be the team that makes the Lakers a contender without feeling like, hey, look at what we got, right? Like, hey, yeah, the Lakers won the championship, but come on, that was too good of a deal. We couldn't pass it up, right? Like that, like nobody wants to be the Pau Gasol to the Lakers, right? Like no one wants to be that team. So I understand the blame for the front office. I understand the frustration for the front office. As the fan in me has that same frustration without a doubt. But when I take a step back and I really, think it over, right? Like we need multiple pieces, right? I've talked about it all season. We need Cam Johnson and a Jeremy Grant and a Zach LaVine and right. Like we need at least 2, if not 3 guys, if we want to be like legit contenders. Right, because then that drops guys. Right now, Connect doesn't have to be the 3rd or 4th best guy. Austin Reeves doesn't have to be the 3rd or 4th best guy. Right, like if you start really kind of better rounding out the roster, but that takes time and it has to be patient. Right, like people forget Rob Pelinka has made a trade every year but last year. Like I see a lot of people that are like Rob Pelinka will never make a trade. Like he's literally traded. He's like overdone trades, but early on he was getting fleeced. Right, early on, I mean, they were calling him, Feliska or whatever the name was, right? Like people were going in on him because I mean, he was never winning trades. He was coming out behind on trades, and then he was patient with the Russell Westbrook trade, and he finally won a trade. And since then, he has done a good job of being patient, in my opinion. Again, if something's there, I do blame them for like not getting DeJounte Murray, right? Like Atlanta wanted Reeves. Again, I like Reeves. DeJounte Murray's the better player. Trade Austin Reeves and go get DeJounte Murray, especially if you didn't have to give up all your firsts and stuff, right? Like, we have to be patient. It's frustrating, right? But we have to find the right move, right? Like right now, Walker Kessler. We could get Walker Kessler today if we traded both first and Jalen Hood-Schifino, right? But does Walker Kessler by himself make us a contender? No. Does he make us better? Sure. But it doesn't make us a contender. Right? So, like, do you do that and now you're stuck and now you're hoping that other guy? No, like Lakers need, again, like a Brooklyn Nets trade. But Brooklyn's in no rush, right? Brooklyn, they're hoping a team comes in, especially after they just got what they got with the Mikal Bridges trade, right? Like, so again, it's frustrating, but Rob Pelinka is doing the right thing by being patient, waiting to find the right deal and then jump on the right deal if it presents itself. But from a fan perspective, it's infuriating, right? From a fan perspective, it's tough because it's just like, come on, man. Like, dude, we're clearly not good enough. You need to get this done. Lakers have to keep winning, right? The Lakers end up dropping 5 straight. It's a problem, right? But if we can, stay above water, even marginally, right? Like, it makes things easier because now you're not coming out of a point of desperation. You're coming out of a point of like, hey, we would like this guy. But if the Lakers were 6-10, now you're coming from a point of desperation. So that's what I'm saying. Like Lakers have to continue to win games. They have to continue to at least stay afloat. But again, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. We can't wait until February to make a move, or this might be a waste of season. I mean, we are still and look, we got a tough schedule coming up, so things could change very quickly. But right now, we are 10-6, right? Like we are still above water. If as long as we like maintain this pace, where we're, say 30 games in, we're 20-12 or whatever, right? Like, then we're fine. We can be patient. But if things start going down fast, then yes, we're not going to be able to wait till February. You might be right. It might end up being a wasted season. So I don't want to overreact too quickly, but it's definitely something we got to kind of keep an eye on. This is the only real channel Lakers Nation via Lane sold a long time ago. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Need to trade for Miles Turner. I would love to get Miles Turner. Question is Indiana willing to do that? Valanciunas isn't good. I don't know. I wouldn't say he isn't good. I mean, he's not like the rim protector we need, but he's a guy that gets you a double-double in limited minutes off the bench, stretch the floor a little bit, make plays out of the post. I mean, he solves a lot for the Lakers as far as center position goes, and he's cheap enough to where you can make other moves and do other deals. But, like, is he the ideal center? No. But is he, if you can get other things? Yes. Preach, bro, preach. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. We should have never had D'Lo come off the bench. Have Reeves, trash self, come off the bench. I mean, look, if D'Lo could get back to being D'Lo of last season, at least during the regular season, then yeah, I'd be okay with that. But D'Lo has been really bad, really bad. He's just not been very good at all. Lack of defensive effort, no athleticism backcourt, no attention to details. I will not blame the coach. He does not have what we really need. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Paul. Right there with you. We legit don't have a single good role player except for Connect. I mean, I think Austin Reeves is a good role player. I just think he's not what we need him to be right now, which is a third option, right? Like, look, I've been as critical and, outspoken about Austin Reeves as anybody, but I mean, he's a good role player. He's just not your third option, and he's being asked to be your third option, right? Like, if he's your fourth or fifth, you're probably in a really good position. I'm not sure Miles Turner has the right type of competitive motor. I mean, what makes you think that, Sammy? I mean, what have we seen that shows he's not? I mean, he's not like a superstar center, but I mean, he's always been one of the better defensive bigs in the league. He stretches the floor, does a lot. He's also playing a very specific role in Indiana, right? Like, he's not really this like major focal point either. So, I'd kind of love to hear your perspective on that. Like, what makes you think that? David, coming out $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Warriors lost to Spurs, not alone, choking tonight. Yeah, that's a good point. But that's what's so frustrating, right? The Lakers beat Orlando, at least beat Orlando. Then at least we're still in pace with, Thunder and the Warriors and Houston, because Houston lost too. Houston lost to Portland, right? So, like, this is why that Orlando game, people kept telling me it was only one game. Well, one game just became two and could end up spiraling very quickly. It's not just one game. These games have implications, right? Like, one game is the difference between you being a playoff team or a play-in team. And if the Lakers beat Orlando the other night, we're only a game back of the 1 seed still. Right now, we're like, what, game and a half still, 2 games? It's just, that's the difference. But yeah, Warriors, Boston, Spurs, Wemby was ridiculous down the stretch. And then Houston losing to Portland was huge. Portland's beaten a lot of like good teams this year, surprisingly. Like, all of their wins have been like, they've beaten like Minnesota twice. They've beaten Houston. Like, they keep beating the better teams. Yeah, AR does not look for Dalton at all. Is DK better than Rui? Trade Rui. I mean, they're very different players, very different skill sets, right? Like, Rui as a 4 makes, like, if Rui, the problem with Rui is he's playing out of position, right? Like, if Rui got to play the 4, then yeah, you start Rui, right? And then have LeBron be the 3. But the problem is LeBron at this age, like if this was, 30-year-old LeBron, then I would probably be saying start Rui, right? Like have Rui be the 4, LeBron at the 3. But the problem is as long as LeBron's on this team, he's never going to be able to play that, right? Like you're comparing, different cars, right? Like, not all cars are the same, but all, both cars are good just in different ways, right? It's like one's a truck, one's a sports car. Like DK's like the sports car, Rui's kind of like the truck, right? But if you're using a truck to, you want to use the truck to do some heavy lifting. You want to use the truck to, plow through some stuff, right? But if you're using the truck as, a sports car, you're not going to have as much success as you would using it as a truck. You might as well go with the sports car. So yeah, Dalton Connect at the 3, yes, is better. And to answer your question, do you trade Rui? Yes, you trade Rui. Tyler, LeBron is the best playmaker of all time when it comes to collapsing defenses and making reads, but my God, he is horrendous passer. This man makes everything as difficult as possible. Yeah, it's getting ridiculous at this point. I mean, the guy's turning the ball over every other possession. Like, it's crazy. He had as many turnovers as assists tonight. He had one more assist than turnovers. He keeps leaving. I don't know why he keeps doing that. It drives me crazy. He keeps leaving his feet. And not to mention trying to force passes. He constantly is trying to, like, QB these passes and try to squeeze them through tight windows, right? Like, why? I'd rather him just shoot his, look down 3 than just, like, try to, like, beam a pass through 5 guys. Like, it's the decision making. It's crazy. It's crazy, the decision making he's had this season, right? I mean, he's always been pretty turnover prone, but it's just, man. Let's see. Lingard coming out the final super chat. Thank you so much. Seriously, I appreciate it. I was in denial for a minute, but we in fact sucked defense. Worries me coming in after a Magic disaster. Porter put on a masterclass of what Connect could be. Yeah, look, I've talked about it. This team is not a contender. I think the Lakers are a good team. I think that they could be, a playoff team, right? Like, but if you want to be a contender, right, we got to make some moves. We got to make some trades. We're one of the worst defensive teams in the league. If that's not changing, I don't care who the coach is. I don't care, you could go rewind time and go get prime Phil Jackson, prime Pat Riley, have them do the fusion dance to become one, perfect coach. And they're still not fixing this defense, right? Because we just don't have the players and personnel to do so. The defense is terrible, and it's not going to change, right? So you have to be great in all the other areas. Problem is the Lakers aren't great in all the other areas, right? Like, we don't have guys that outside of, like, Connect that can regularly light it up shooting the basketball. So we're not a great shooting team, right? Like, we don't have all these guys that the blue chip role guys, right? Like, it's just, you go down the list and it's just like, we don't have, this team isn't good enough. This team's a good team. They have a puncher's chance, but you're so LeBron and AD reliant, right? Like, and if they have like AD had a bad game tonight. If he has a bad game, you're losing all those games. A lot of teams you saw, like, Dallas without Luka are out here beating good teams, right? Like, you see different things, right? It's just like, it's the problem. We don't have the things that we need. And then the Magic game, it's why I kept screaming. Like, people kept telling me, like, oh, you need to calm down. It's one game. It's this, that, the other. It's not just one game. Again, we're in the Western Conference, right? You look at the Eastern Conference. Look, Milwaukee went from being, like, last in the East and went on a 4-game win streak, and they're, like, 4th in the East now, right? Like, in the East, you can get away with that. In the West, you can't, right? Like, if you win that Orlando game, you've at least won 7 out of 8 games. You're only a game out of first, right? It changes the narrative a lot, right? Obviously, there's still this frustration. There's still this talk of, like, hey, Lakers can't beat Denver, but at least you're still in a good position. Where now, look, you just lost 2 straight games, and you got OKC and Phoenix coming up. It's tough. But again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for Super Chat. All right, I'm gonna power through like a handful more questions. Obviously, super chats take priority, but outside of that, I am going to just kind of pull up a list here and then dive into and then let's get out of here. What do people like about Jovan? He's so boring. I've never seen dude genuinely happy for anything. He'd have to. I'm assuming that's for just the chat. But any center that are even available in free agency till we trade, that's worth it. Any centers that are even available in free agency? No. In free agency, it's just like, you might as well just stick with who you're sticking with. But outside of that, I would you got to do a trade. You got to pull off a trade. Dante isn't even good. Dante's pretty good. He's having a bad season though. I think it's worth starting Max for a couple of games. See if he boosts his confidence and he breaks through. I mean, problem is that Cam Reddish has just been so good for this team, like defensively and just like providing the athleticism and rebounding and all that stuff. I don't think you can take him out. Let's see. At least we aren't the 76ers, where we make a motto of the process and then look what that be. Yeah. I'll be honest, this game really showed how bad the Lakers need a 3-and-D player, physical big. They aren't bad, but if they want to be a contender, they need it. Yeah, Lakers. Like I've said, we're like 2 or 3 guys away from being a contender. What can a D'Lo, Rui, Gabe, JHS get, if any, team even wants him? I mean, look, teams don't want them. I mean, maybe Rui, a team might like him. Jalen Chifino, a team might take a flyer on because he's going to be a cheap, young talent. He's 20 years old. So a team might go, hey, let's see if maybe we can develop him and turn him into something. Look at Scottie Pippen Jr., for example, right? Like, D'Lo teams are going to be D'Lo's going to be worth gold around the trade deadline because he's an expiring contract and the new CBA and all that stuff. There was a report that came out from an anonymous GM that said that they had a trade finalized and done, and the NBA rejected it because of the new CBA, because of a rule that they didn't even know. Like, more and more GMs are coming out and talking about like this new CBA is like so restrictive, it's insane, right? Like, and that's something else that people need to keep in mind with Rob Pelinka. Like, so many people are so critical of Rob Pelinka. New CBA has changed a lot, and Rob Pelinka said it, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is just an excuse." Well, now like every GM in the league at this point has said the exact same thing. Right? Even the Knicks, who jumped through all kinds of hoops to pull off trades, they even said like it's nearly impossible now. It's like it's not even worth it at this point, right? Like, so something you got to keep in mind. So D'Lo is going to be incredibly valuable come the trade deadline because he's $18.6 million and he's an expiring contract. Also, I think now that D'Lo is willing to come off the bench, you may get a couple teams that go, you know what, like him as a starter, no, but him off the bench, right, as like a shooter and playmaker, especially if he can kind of get back to that, then sure, we can like that. But yeah, I mean, really, it's the assets or it's teams wanting to get off of long-term money, right? Like, so for example, Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent is statistically the worst player in the NBA right now, right? So why would anybody want him? Well, if you're a team like, Chicago, would you rather pay Gabe Vincent $11 million for 1 year? Or would you rather play Zach LaVine 43 to 45 million over there, right? Like, people would take Gabe to get off of salary, right? So like, Portland team with Jeremy Grant. It's like, okay, well, we could do D'Lo and Gabe Vincent, right? And we basically clear 19 million off our books, and now we're only paying 11 million for 1 year rather than 120 million over 4, right? Like, that's where the value in those guys come from. So yeah, but all right, I'm gonna do like 3 more questions and I'm gonna skate on out of here because gotta make some videos. I don't want to be too late. Even if Connect started, it would not have mattered against Denver. Denver made necessary adjustments second half by increasing the defensive intensity. Yeah, I don't think Dalton Connect by himself wins this game. But I do think Dalton Connect should be starting going forward. I know Dante might bounce back, but I'm not taking risks. But again, problem with Dante is he's too. It's there's too many hurdles, and he's not that good to where it's like, okay, like you have to pull off a deal. You have to go get, like, it's not worth the hoops that you have to jump through in order to make it happen. Block up, yes. Don't forget to show some love, hitting that like button and subscribing if you haven't shown the creator that you appreciate the content. Yes, thank you so much. Seriously, yes. Take a quick second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Capella from the Hawks could be a decent option. I don't hate the idea of Clint Capella. Not my favorite option. I've talked about him and described it as like kind of like a break glass in case of emergency type thing. I do like that he's a free agent after the season. So if it doesn't work, you can just let him walk. If it does work, you can sign him to like a Valanciunas deal and do like, 3 years, 10 million, right? He is still one of the better offensive rebounders in the league. Still can give you some block shots, right? Like he still does some stuff. As stands, do you think the Lakers can pull out a shocking trade that blows up Twitter? I mean, is it possible? Yeah, of course. Will they? I don't know. Depends on the type of trade. I mean, if they get like a Zach LaVine, I think that would probably get a lot of views. If that, if they do like a huge roster rehaul, like with the Nets or something, I think they could do a lot. But yeah, it's very possible. But anyway, I'm gonna get on out of here so I can go make some more videos and get everything done, do all that stuff. I appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Everyone that gave me super chat, seriously, thank you so much. It really helps a ton. As a content creator, right? Got to pay the bills, so that does help. Everyone else that just hung out with me, I do appreciate it, seriously. And take a quick second, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel on your way out. Hopefully, we bounce back these next few games, right? We really need it badly. Hopefully some trades get done sooner rather than later. But otherwise, I appreciate you guys. You guys are beautiful. Thank you all so much.